Hello, dear Homopedia family. We often operate under the misconception that Hacienda style demands excess ornate ironwork, heavy drapes, and a clutter of decorative ceramics that scream theme park rather than home. This belief stems from a misunderstanding of the architectural lineage, treating the style as a costume rather than a climate-responsive solution. The result is visual suffocation, where the architecture feels performative and hollow. We must reject this additive approach. True grandeur in Spanish architecture is not found in the decoration of space, but in the shaping of the space itself. It is the discipline of subtraction. The pain of a poorly designed entrance is felt in the lack of transition. Stepping from the chaotic street directly into a living space creates a jarring psychological friction. Without a proper buffer, the home fails to be a sanctuary. Our solution lies in the sequence of arrival. We prioritize the saguan, the transitional hallway or courtyard, as a mandatory architectural loan. By compressing the entry experience before expanding into the home, we force the mind to decelerate. We strip away the faux finishes and let the raw, honest mass of the walls speak, creating a modern silence that feels instantly expensive. The first challenge we face is the scale of the approach. A common friction in luxury design is the disconnect between the car and the front door, often resulting in a paved wasteland that feels commercial. We resolve this by narrowing the visual field. Instead of a sprawling driveway, we introduce high landscape berms and low garden walls that guide the eye. This creates a forced perspective, turning the act of parking into a procession. The unpaved texture of decomposed granite slows the vehicle, signaling a shift in tempo before the engine even cuts off. When selecting the exterior cladding, the unseen hero is the aggregate within the stucco. Standard smooth stucco often looks flat and synthetic, reflecting light like plastic. We agitate this by specifying a custom mix with crushed marble dust and varied sand grains. This isn't just aesthetic. It creates microshadows across the facade that diffuse harsh sunlight. The wall becomes a canvas that changes with the time of day, absorbing the glare rather than bouncing it back, grounding the building in a sense of permanence and age. Back, grounding the building in a sense of permanence and age. The archway is the atmospheric pivot of the hacienda, yet it is frequently miscalculated as a perfect semicircle, which can feel cartoonish. We correct this by elongating the spring point, creating a stilted arch that feels more elegant and less geometric. This verticality draws the eye upward, increasing the perceived volume of the entry. By thickening the wall depth at the arch to 24 inches, we create a distinct shadow line, a threshold of darkness that one must pass through to reach the light. The front door itself presents a spatial friction between security and operability. A massive solid wood door communicates safety, but if it is too heavy, it becomes a burden to use daily. We solve this through the integration of hidden pivot hinges rather than side-mounted ones. This shifts the load-bearing point, allowing a 500-pound slab of rift-sawn white oak to glide with the push of a finger. We maintain the visual weight of the history while engineering the ease of modern living. Hardware is often an afterthought, a shiny distraction that betrays the authenticity of the materials. We treat the entry handle as the handshake of the house. We reject lacquered finishes that remain stagnant. Instead, we commission unlacquered brass or oil-rubbed bronze that will oxidize and patina over time. The friction of the human hand polishing the metal through use tells a story of habitation. It is a living finish that acknowledges the passage of time, adding a layer of tactile intimacy. Flooring transitions are where the flow often dies. Using polished marble in an entry can feel cold and slippery, creating a subconscious hesitation. The atmospheric pivot here is the use of honed, handmade terracotta or reclaimed limestone. We choose materials with high thermal mass that remain cool to the touch in summer. By continuing this material from the exterior porch into the foyer, we dissolve the boundary between inside and out. The imperfect texture grips the foot, grounding the visitor. Lighting the entry is a battle against glare. The mistake is flooding the space with overhead cans that flatten the architecture. We resolve this spatial friction by banning direct downlights in the foyer. Instead, we utilize uplights concealed in the floor or focused on the vault of the ceiling. This indirect glow highlights the hand-troweled texture of the plaster and creates a cathedral-like atmosphere. The light source remains invisible, but the effect is a warm, embracing luminescence. The volume of the foyer often suffers from acoustic chaos. Hard surfaces bounce sound, making a luxury home feel institutional. The unseen hero in our design is an acoustic plaster system applied to the ceiling vaults. Visually, it is indistinguishable from traditional lime wash, but it absorbs reverberation. This quiets the space immediately upon entry. The drop in decibel level works in tandem with the visual grandeur to create a subconscious signal. You have arrived and you are safe. We must address the connection to nature. A sealed entry feels sterile. The atmospheric pivot is the integration of a weeping wall or a small water feature near the door. The sound of water masks street noise and cools the air through evaporation. We position this feature so it is visible through the glass, but physically separated, creating a desire to explore. It engages the ear before the eye, adding a sensory layer that transforms a static hallway into a living ecosystem. Ceiling details in Hacienda style often lean too rustic, with rough, faux-distressed beams that look theatrical. We resolve this aesthetic friction by opting for clean, square-cut timber with a wire-brushed finish. We stain them in a matte charcoal or bleached walnut tone to strip away the orange hues of traditional varnish. This respects the structural rhythm of the past, but cleans up the lines for a contemporary palette. It is a nod to history without being held hostage by it. Furnishing the entry is a delicate balance. Too much furniture clutters the flow. Too little feels barren. The unseen hero is the floating console or masonry plinth. By anchoring a stone ledge directly into the wall during construction, we eliminate legs and visual noise at the floor level. This keeps the sight lines clear and the floor expanse uninterrupted. It provides a specific place for a monolithic floral arrangement or sculpture without encroaching on the walking path. Plant life is non-negotiable, yet often poorly executed with small, cluttered pots. The atmospheric pivot is the use of a single, large-scale specimen tree, such as a black olive or ficus, planted directly into an indoor atrium or a massive artisan vessel. This introduces a vertical organic element that softens the rigid architectural lines. The tree filters the light entering the space, creating a dappled pattern on the floor that mimics the sensation of being outdoors. The choice of stone for door surrounds creates a friction between durability and elegance. Limestone can stain. Granite feels too speckled and commercial. We turn to Cantera stone, a volcanic rock indigenous to Mexico. Its porous nature allows it to breathe and age gracefully. We specify a honed finish rather than a raw split face to bridge the gap between rustic and refined. This material absorbs moisture and dries quickly, making it the perfect functional threshold for the transition. Color palette decisions often lead to dark, cave-like entries in an attempt to look moody. We resolve this by using a warm white, plaster that leans towards beige or taupe, rather than stark white or yellow cream. The unseen hero is the light reflectance value, LRV, of the wall color. We aim for an LRV of roughly 60 to 70, which is bright enough to feel airy, but deep enough to hold shadows. This ensures the sculptural forms of the architecture are legible. Symmetry is a classic tool, but rigid symmetry can feel stiff and unwelcoming. The atmospheric pivot in our modern hacienda is the introduction of asymmetry through art or lighting. We might center the architectural volume, but offset the entry table or the pendant light. This slight imbalance creates dynamic tension and movement, inviting the eye to travel through the space rather than getting stuck in the center. It feels curated and collected rather than mathematically imposed. Modernizing the glazing is critical. Traditional small pane windows chop up the view and reduce light. The spatial friction is balancing the need for light with the need for privacy. We solve this by using steel-framed window walls with reeded or fluted glass in selected panels. This allows light to pour in while distorting the view from the street. The slender steel profiles nod to industrial modernity, while the textured glass references artisanal craftsmanship. The roof line at the entry sets the expectation. A flat facade can feel unfinished. The unseen hero is the exposed rafter tail. Rather than boxing in the eaves, we expose the structural timber tails and cut them with a custom profile, a simple angle or a subtle curve. This reveals the structural logic of the building. It proves that the roof isn't just a lid. It's a sheltering element. The rhythm of the tails creates a detailed shadow play against the high stucco walls. Waterproofing the threshold is a technical bore that defines longevity. The pain point is water intrusion at the sill of a curbless door. We resolve this with a linear slot drain integrated seamlessly into the stone threshold. Visually, it is a negative reveal, a shadow line. Functionally, it captures wind-driven rain before it enters the envelope. This allows us to maintain a zero-threshold transition for accessibility and flow without sacrificing weather resilience. Privacy in the entry courtyard is essential. A gate that is too open exposes the home. One that is too solid feels like a fortress. The spatial friction is the transparency ratio. We design custom iron gates with vertical slats, spaced at varying intervals tight at eye level for privacy, wider at the bottom for airflow. This creates a moire effect that shifts as you walk past, offering glimpses of the inner sanctum without revealing the full picture. Art integration is often an afterthought, resulting in paintings hung awkwardly on curved walls. The unseen hero is the architectural niche. We frame out recessed niches within the thick masonry walls, specifically lit for sculpture or pottery. This integrates art into the fabric of the building rather than applying it as a surface decoration. It adds depth and layers to the walls, reinforcing the mass and solidity that defines the Hacienda style. The pause point is a psychological necessity. Rushing from the car to the kitchen creates stress. The atmospheric pivot is a designated bench or seating area within the entry loggia. Even if rarely used for sitting, its presence signals leisure. It tells the visitor, we are not in a hurry here. We fabricate this from solid timber or cast concrete, making it an immutable part of the architecture that invites a moment of decompression. Maintenance of exterior wood is a constant friction. The sun destroys varnish, leading to peeling and ugliness. We resolve this by banning film-forming finishes. We use penetrating oils that soak into the wood fibers. When the wood fades, it does so evenly and gracefully, turning silver gray. Reapplication is a simple wipe down, not a sanding project. We embrace the patina of the wood as part of the aesthetic, aligning with the philosophy of wabi-sabi. Scale manipulation is our most powerful tool. A standard ceiling height in an entry feels oppressive. The unseen hero is the vertical compression and release. We might lower the ceiling in the exterior approach to 7 feet, only to have it soar to 14 feet once inside. This manipulation of volume creates a physical sensation of release and awe. It makes the interior feel expansive and limitless, utilizing the Z-axis to create luxury without increasing square footage. Framing the view through the house is the final reward. The mistake is blocking the sightline with a wall immediately upon entry. The atmospheric pivot is the axial view. We align the front door with a rear window or door that looks out to the landscape or pool. This borrowed landscape pulls the eye through the entire home, connecting the arrival instantly with the backyard oasis. It promises a lifestyle of indoor-outdoor connection immediately. The final threshold is the transition from the public foyer to the private living areas. The spatial friction is defining zones without using doors. We solve this with a change in floor level, a 2-step drop, or a change in ceiling material, from plaster to wood. This subtle demarcation indicates a shift in intimacy. It guides the guest intuitively without the need for signage or barriers, maintaining the open plan while respecting the hierarchy of spaces. In reimagining the Hacienda entrance, we move beyond the superficial replication of Spanish colonial tropes. We are not building sets. We are choreographing an experience. The decisions we make, from the unseen acoustic plaster to the tactile resistance of the bronze handle, are all designed to resolve the friction of modern life. By balancing the heavy, protective nature of masonry with the light, restorative qualities of biophilic design, we create a space that does not just impress the eye, but calms the nervous system. This is the definition of quiet luxury. Ultimately, the goal is timelessness. Trends in tile patterns and lighting fixtures will fade, but the fundamental principles of proportion, light, and material honesty will endure. When we strip away the excess and focus on the resolution of spatial and atmospheric problems, we build homes that age with dignity. The grand entrance is no longer a barrier to the world, but a curated filter, allowing only the light, air, and peace that serves the inhabitants to pass through. This is the new standard for the modern sanctuary.